Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Shankly Sessions, the Liverpool podcast we bring you each and every week as part of our offering on the upper tier. Today, we're going to do a Liverpool versus Brighton preview. If you haven't checked it out yet, we had a look. We did a kind of a mid-term report on Liverpool there a few days ago. It's up there on the channel if you want to check that out as well. We were absolutely critical and honest as we could be about it. But tonight we're going to do a Liverpool versus Brighton preview. And I suppose before we get into that, it's great to be back after the international break and to have Premier League action to look forward to. So many games getting postponed and stuff like that. And before we get into the preview, I suppose we should give a little bit of comment about the players that were out there on international duty. Obviously, Diaz doing pretty well and Nunes doing okay. But Trent out in the cold. Very, very interesting. Didn't figure in the first game, where they lacked a little bit of creativity. Felt that the second game, being after the result of the first game, the second game was kind of like a free hit, even though it was against Germany. So that elevates the level of the game somewhat. But they're crying out for a bit of creativity on the flanks and stuff like that. Weren't England? And Trent was left out of the side. And then comments were coming out from Southgate and stuff like that, saying that he's even not only is he behind Reece James and Kyle Walker, but he's probably also behind Kieran Trippier as well. And I was kind of thinking, that's absolutely crazy. This is a guy who 12 months ago or less maybe was being touted as, one of the best right backs in the world. He had won a Premier League, he had won a Champions League last season. He was pivotal in Liverpool going for the quadruple, and we fell short, won two domestic cups, just shy in both Champions League and League, and he was absolutely a monster last season. Between goals and goal contributions and assists and stuff like that. So he started off this season obviously out of form. And he recognises that himself, and I'm sure he's working hard to fix that. But Saturday's game should give him an opportunity to show Southgate exactly what he's missing. And obviously, it's going to be against a tough team in Brighton. I was at the game last season in Anfield, and what a game that was, finishing 2-2. But we really, to be honest, I know Brighton were really good in the second half and stuff like that, but we really threw it away, to be honest. We were sailing, got complacent, and a number of poor performances in midfield by some of our players really let us down on the day. But this will present a different challenge. Brighton are flying high at the moment. But I just wanted to get your feelings on let me know your comments on Trent and stuff like that. How do you feel about Trent coming out of the English system? I suppose from a club point of view, it's brilliant for us because he's not getting tired and stuff like that, and he's not having to, get involved in the travel and do all that kind of stuff. And it gives him a time if he doesn't get to Qatar, it gives him a time to recoup and rest and take stock of where he's at and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I was in two minds coming back off this international break. Normally, I'd come back off international breaks dying for football and stuff like that. But it's safe to say the international break came at the right time for Liverpool. Yes, our performances had improved slightly, especially in the Ajax game and stuff like that, especially coming off the poor performance against Napoli the week before, and also not a great performance in the Merseyside derby where we drew. But yeah, it came at the right time for us to kind of just reset and take stock, and maybe give players a bit of time to come back. We've had a whole host of injuries and stuff like that to deal with. So it really came at a good time for Liverpool, languishing eighth in the league, 9 points behind Arsenal, who are leading it at the moment, albeit we've a game in hand. But still, you need points on the board, not game in hand, and we're way off the pace in terms of not only making a league challenge, but also in terms of the top four. We need to be so careful. But yeah, it was kind of like it was good timing. And there's a sort of kind of an excitement in me at the moment for the Premier League returning, but also a kind of a nervousness as well. Have we done what we needed to do to take stock of where we are and really boost our league and our boost our form now going into this really hectic October period? And just to take a look at that October period, this is what it looks like. So at the moment, there's the 9 fixtures that we have for October. So we start out on Saturday with Brighton. Then we have Rangers in the Champions League twice. We've Arsenal away on the 9th. Man City at home on the 16th. West Ham at home on the 19th. Forest away on the 22nd. Then we have Ajax away and Leeds at home. Now, that is a really, really tough October. 9 games. None of them overly easy in the form that we're at the moment. Some tough away games. Arsenal's going to be tough. I would expect us to get maximum points out of the two Rangers games. And nothing but maximum points in both those games will suffice in terms of the Champions League. I think the game against Arsenal away is going to be a tough one. I think the City one at home is going to be pretty tough as well. Haaland's absolutely on fire. Man City operating different level. Even though at times this season they look like they could be got at, especially in the Newcastle game and stuff like that. West Ham will be a tough game. Forest away, a tough place to go. And then Leeds at home will give us a hell of a game. But this October is a watershed moment really for Liverpool. The form in this month will really tell us where we're really at the moment in terms of a challenge for the league. Are we going to have a chance of getting back into a title race, or are we really operating in a top four battle? But that's your 9 fixtures coming up because of postponements and various other things and stuff like that. So it's going to be a tough month. Morris in the comments, October is a feast of football. Absolutely, Morris. 9 games in 4 weeks. It's going to be absolutely crazy. And for your own team, even, Morris is going to tell the tale of where you're at and stuff. I think by the end of October, we'll know exactly where the title race kind of sits and stuff like that. And we'll also know a lot of other truths will have come through as well in terms of Europe and stuff like that. But it's Anfield, 3 p.m. and let's preview the Brighton game. Klopp versus Roberto De Zerbi. I think that's how you pronounce it, De Zerbi. On VAR is Simon Hooper and the referee Andy Madley. That's the breakdown on the game. Zerbi was announced on the 25th of May 21. Zerbi was announced as the new head coach of Ukrainian Premier League. So I checked Donetsk, who we know well from Champions League and stuff like that. They've done reasonably well over the years. 22nd of September, he won the Ukrainian Super Cup. So he has a bit of form there against Dynamo Kiev in the Olympic Stadium in Kiev. Did really, really well. And also he left the team top of the Ukrainian league at the time when the league was abandoned due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And he was signed by Brighton on the 18th of September. So just over a week ago, say. Signing a 4-year contract. So he does bring a bit of form. So the question will be, I suppose, has he had enough time? Has he had enough time to work with those Brighton players? Or are we going to kind of see a makeshift kind of Potter situation with him putting a little bit into it and stuff like that? Has he had the time to work with those players to instill kind of what he wants, stuff like that? Brighton absolutely flying at the moment, 4th in the league, playing really, really good football. Gave Leicester a right pace in their last day out and stuff like that, putting Rodgers under serious pressure. Morris back again. I think October is make or break for everyone. Absolutely make or break for everyone. So many matches to be played, so many points up for grabs. And it's going to be very, very interesting. Previewing the game kind of from Liverpool coming into the game on the back of an improved performance against Ajax, albeit still a little bit wasteful. But we got the job done in the end, albeit we needed a late one from Matip and stuff like that. But they say, look, a game is 90 minutes and that's the way it is. But we should have scored. We should have been out of sight against Ajax, and we did offer them up a few chances as well, which would be a little bit concerning. Also in the league, a poor performance in the Merseyside derby, drawn 0-0. Just really, really not at the races at all. And that followed up the game against Napoli, which we don't even need to speak about anymore. It was just so poor. But if they want to maintain any sort of, if they want to have any sort of involvement in this title race, they're going to need to win most of those matches in October. So we're going to need to utilise a lot of our squad, and we're going to need a lot of those guys that are injured back off injury as well. 9 games in 4 weeks. It's going to be absolutely massive. I suppose our hope is that the international break has given people time to reset. The team looked jaded after the Ajax game, and certainly in the Merseyside derby as well. They just looked way off the pace and looked a little bit shattered. Very long season last season, 63 games. So the international break, as I said, has come at a real good time to give them a chance to take stock, get a bit of rest after looking so jaded. Brighton, on the other hand, are currently flying high in the league, playing really nice football, albeit their coach has moved on to Chelsea, which must be very disappointing for them losing them. But of course, when the opportunity comes to take a job like the Chelsea job, you can't turn it down. But they don't seem to be showing any signs of weakness in the post kind of Cucurella Basuma era. They've replaced both those players. But the intriguing factor really will be the new manager. What's this new manager like coming in from Shakhtar Donetsk? Will he try to change the footballing? I know Lallana's been taking some coaching and stuff like that and all. But this new guy will want to come in and stamp his kind of thing on Brighton. Or will he continue in the Potter vein that's been so successful for Brighton in the past? So that's kind of the unknown in terms of what's going to happen in the team and stuff like that. But certainly, has he had enough time to get his message across? He's probably had about 7 days with the players or something like that, I would imagine. Doesn't seem like a huge amount of time. If we look at current form at the moment, Liverpool 3 draws, 2 wins and a loss in the league, sitting in 8th at the moment. A horrible start to the season, dropping points needlessly in places where they've, been lucky at times, and other times just haven't shown up and performed. Brighton are 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. Great form in the league at the moment, sitting in 4th and deservedly so. Let's look at a bit of team news. Liverpool at the moment, Robertson close to returning. Keita and Ox is looking like the end of October. I'm not sure what the whole dilemma is with Keita. I'm just not too sure on what's going on there, whether it's an injury or that's what they're posting it out as. Konate is close to returning. Hendo is back. And we're going to get talking about Hendo when we get into the possible 11. Ramsey and Kelleher may be available. Not too sure. I would like to have a look at the boy Ramsey and see what's he about. A lot of talk about him coming in and stuff like that. And Jones obviously remains sidelined at the moment. For Brighton, Mwepu was hospitalised with illness while on international duty. Lallana is back in training and could feature against ourselves, his former club, which would be interesting. Like a Lallana, he's a very, very good player. But if you look at Liverpool starting 11, we'll be going with the 4-3-3. So it'll be Alisson, Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, Smiskas, Hendo, Fabinho, Thiago, Salah, Jota, and Diaz. Bit of a conundrum there in terms of Jota. Do we play Jota? Who mentioned, I think, on international duty that he was a little bit tired and stuff like that. And I think in the last game, he requested to be taken off by the coach, saying he was a little bit tired. So I don't know, maybe Klopp might look at that and he might throw the boy Nunez in, who didn't have too bad an international break at all. Obviously on the bench, you're looking at Adrian, Gomez, Milner, Firmino, Nunez, Carvalho, Arthur, Beatic, and Phillips. For Brighton are kind of playing a 4-2-3-1. That's what we expect anyway. We're not too sure with the new coach going in. So you're looking at Sanchez, Veltman, Dunk, Webster, Estepin, McAllister, Cancedo, March, Gross, Trossard, Welbeck. That March, Gross, Trossard, Welbeck is the one that really we came unstuck against last season at Anfield. If you look at the bench, it's Steele, Lamptey, Colwell, Alzat, Udev, Mitoma, Gilmore, Van Heck, and Lallana. So very, very strong there. Not too many injuries for Brighton at the moment. And I'm sure they've had a good international break to train and get their fitness up and all that kind of stuff, but also recover somewhat as well. They've had a really, really good start. If you look at the head-to-heads, Liverpool with 20 wins, 10 draws, and Brighton with 5 wins. That's been the head-to-heads. And we'll have a look at that. Let's get into, first of all, let's look at the Liverpool side. So when we look at the setup on this, you're looking at Alisson and nets, of course, Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, Tomiskas, as I mentioned, Fabinho in the holding role. I'm thinking he's probably going to play Hendo. He didn't have any playing time, as far as I know, on international break. But I think he'll probably put him back in there. If you looked at Harvey Elliott over the last couple of games he played in, he looked a little bit jaded and a little bit tired, especially when he was coming off and stuff like that. He looked like he had emptied the gas tank and he was carrying the weight of the team on his shoulders. Certainly he's been the one, along with Carvalho, who have been performing with Diaz as well. So he's had to carry a lot over the first 6 games and stuff like that. But I have a funny feeling he'll put Hendo in there for that battle in midfield, which of course is concerning on so many levels as well, because in terms of creativity, obviously we have Thiago in there as well. So he'll provide the creativity. Fabinho with the holding role. Um, I was going with Jota on the basis that we'd want him in there because, especially up against the likes of Dunk and stuff like that, he could cause a little bit of trouble in there and freshen it up and stuff like that. But I'm not too sure, based on what I heard then in the international break, that he was tired and he wanted to come off and stuff like that, lacking that bit of match fitness after being out injured. So he may opt to go with Nunes and maybe bring Jota on. But we shall see what happens. Expecting a big game from Diaz here, and also from Salah returning as well after having a good international break as well, scored a number of goals for Egypt and stuff like that. So he should come back refreshed, ready to go, dying to put some goals in the Premier League and move himself up into that, try and move himself up into that golden boot thing that I think they've probably already sent to Haaland, but who knows. If you look at the kind of head-to-heads at the moment, just a little graphic that we have here. Liverpool win the last 10 Premier League games, 7 wins, 21 goals, 4 clean sheets. Certainly that's the form that you would like to see, but certainly not the form of the first 6 games. If you look at Brighton, 1 win, 7 goals, 1 clean sheet. So that's in the head-to-head in the last 10 Premier League games. Certainly it's heavily weighted towards us, but certainly the form in the first 6 games in the league would not lead you to believe that we are way off the pace, even in comparison to Brighton. So I just thought I'd put that graphic up there to see it. If you're looking from a prediction point of view, it's tough to know what to expect from Brighton, obviously, with the new manager coming in. We're not too sure what formation he play. We probably won't even be too sure in terms of certain players he might play and stuff like that. But it's going to be a tough match. Games against Brighton are tough games. When you win and pick up points against Brighton, you've played a good game and a tough game, and you've earned every bit of those points. With midfield options obviously returning for us, it's going to be key. And the question is, who is he going to go with? I'm thinking at the moment he's going to go with Hendo, because he'll probably go with the safe option, with maybe Harvey potentially coming on. That's my guess. But we need to now kick it into gear. We need to step up here. Our season has a reset now, and we've reset it. And we need to kick on and get going now from this point. Like as if we're nearly starting our season now, because another loss or two and we will be way off the pace in terms of even top 4, and then we don't even need to be discussing the likes of Jude Bellingham or players at that level, because if we drop down out of that top 4, we're in serious trouble and those players won't be interested in coming to us. I've gone with a high scoring game, because we've been offering up a few goals as well. So I've gone with Liverpool 3-2. I think there's going to be goals in the game. I think it's going to be hectic. 3 o'clock's at Anfield. We need the crowd behind us. Get up for it, guys, if you're there, guys and girls. I had a look at the betting as well, and the betting to me is just, like it's been on so many of these previews, it's just absolutely crazy. Liverpool are 4-11 on, the draw is 4-1, and Brighton are 13-2. I don't know how Brighton are in there at 13-2 with the form they've shown in the first 6 games, regardless of coming to Anfield, and with the form we've shown. How are we 4-11 on? I thought the betting would be much tighter than that. I did pick out one bet that I thought was kind of a nice one with odds of 14-1, and that was both teams to score in both halves, which is an interesting bet and falls nicely into the 3-2 prediction to Liverpool. But that's the only value that's out there. Other than that, it's heavily weighted towards Liverpool, and the odds are just absolutely shocking. We will be back on Saturday afternoon with a match reaction and player ratings, and it's going to be the start of many match reactions, previews, and player ratings over the next 4 weeks. It's going to be crazy for content creators like myself on the channel. We're going to be non-stop. You're going to be getting hit with content literally every day at this stage, because we literally have a match every 3 days. So it's going to be non-stop. We are back tonight. Join us tonight at 9 o'clock. Myself and Darren will be bringing you through Thursday Tier Talk, where we will be looking, we'll be doing a preview of the Premier League action, including those big derbies that are coming up, some great games this weekend and stuff like that. And that's a big opportunity for Liverpool as well, because if Liverpool can beat Brighton and take the 3 points, with the big derbies that are in there, who knows what might happen? They could end in draws, or you'll have teams dropping points, stuff like that, which could have a huge factor on how the table sort of pans out and stuff like that. So this is a big opportunity with the North London derby on, and also the Manchester derby on. So we got to go out there, be professional, not complacent, and get the points on the board. But we will be back with Thursday Tear Talks Premier League preview. We will be doing Beat the Bookie. We'll be giving you our picks for the weekend. Stay tuned for that, because I do have an unusual pick that I've put in there, somewhere where I normally wouldn't go, way below the championship even. So should be a nice surprise there for Darren and for Mark. I don't normally indulge in those areas. And we'll also be talking about the latest news from the world of football, including a huge rift at PSG at the moment. We'll talk about that later on this evening. So join us at 9 o'clock. Jump in the comments or in the chat. Let us know what you think. Let us know your prediction in the comments as well for the Liverpool game. And also let us know your thoughts on Trent Alexander-Arnold. Could you see him in the next 4 weeks performing at a level that pushes him back into the England squad for Qatar? Or do you think that sail has shipped with Southgate being so defensively, not necessarily liking the offensive players too much? Until next time, Reds, a pleasure. If you want to contact us, the upper tier podcast at gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You'll get us on Twitter as well, both at the _upper_tier, or you'll get us at Session Shankly if you want to contact us. Until next time, Reds, let's do this. We need these 3 points.